Hi everyone, I'm Sue Grace and I'll be talking to you all around home learning, responsive interactions and how to get learning outside as much as possible. Hopefully by the end of this session, you'll feel more empowered to support families with home learning, you'll feel more confident to take learning outside wherever possible, and hopefully we'll get a good bit of time to talk about our own emotional well-being, how this pandemic's affected us and our loved ones, but also how we can support those families and children that are returning to settings this March. Okay, let's talk a little bit about our own feelings of the outdoors. Are you a fair weather walker? Do you only go out when it's sunny? Do you like to get all kitted out with all your waterproofs on and your wellies on and get into the forest and get all muddy? Have a little moment to think about your own experience of the outdoors and how you feel about it. Have a little think about the barriers that we might face in getting children outside. Is it to do with appropriate clothing? Do the children not come in appropriate clothing for all weathers? So you're restricted on, which children you can take out, which ones you can't. Are you restricted by staffing numbers and, you just have enough to cover the inside and your small outside area? Are you restricted by space? Do you not have any outdoor area or very limited outdoor area? Are you not near a park or a forest where you can get the children out locally? So we've shared just a few reasons why you need to be getting those children outside. Hopefully you've had a minute to read some of those. I really hope that with your setting you have got access to a really nice outside area, whether it be within your setting or that you can just step out your front door to one of the most beautiful parks or forests in Waltham Forest. We're very lucky to have so much green on our doorsteps. Those experiences that children will get from going to the park or going to the forest and having a chance to balance along the trees, have a go at climbing them, even just feeling them and touching the bark and feeling what the bark feels like and lifting up rocks and looking underneath them and trying to find mini bees. Those experiences with nature are going to improve so many of their learning and development and their sort of gross and fine motor skills, but also their emotional well-being and their interactions with each other. I know there's a lot of fear around tree climbing and accidents, but research shows there's more accidents of children falling off the bed than climbing a tree. And I think often the mistake that probably parents more than us make, because we don't really lift the children so much, but is that we lift children up onto something like a bed or onto a tree, and actually then they don't really understand the height and they misjudge everything, whereas if they climb up the tree themselves they know how high they've gone, they're building their confidence, so quite often they're very confident to get down as well. So my aim with this presentation is to show you some really simple activities that we might think of doing inside or feel more comfortable doing inside, but I want to show you how simple they are to take outside and with very little resource, so there's no excuse not to get these activities outside and have fun with the children in your setting. So my first activity is called the Magic Grid. You can create this inside with paper, so you can have it on a big piece of sugar paper, have as many squares as you like, 4 squares, 8 squares, you could have 3 squares, 9 squares, however you want to do your grid and however you want to lay it out is up to you. Going outside, you might want to draw it on the ground with some chalks, you might want to get some sticks and draw it in the mud so that you've got it in the forest. You might take some string out and you might lie the string down and have that as your grid. However you want to create that grid, it's there and it's ready to be used. And then challenging your children to go and find things to put on the grid. Can you find something green? Can you find something spiky? Maybe everybody finds something different to put onto the grid. And when it all comes back and everything's on the grid, they've had that independent time going to find their items, and then it's your chance to do some responsive interactions where you're going to be able to question them and talk about what's on the grid. Maybe challenge them. Can you put your leaf next to the stone? Can you put your stone between the leaf and the twig? You know, all that positional language that you can be doing with them through that one activity. You could challenge them to close their eyes so you can take one of the objects away. Can they guess which one it is? Can they tell you which one it was next to, which one it was below, and so on and so forth. There's so many opportunities for learning just through using a grid. They can go and change the objects. They can find objects beginning with certain letters. However you want to do it, the learning is endless. Another nice activity is a sticky palette or a sticky frame. So you can create frames for your children and put some nice sort of double-sided tape around the outside. That can all be set up ready before they go out. Then they go out into the outdoors and they collect things to make their frame really pretty, and they can stick it all around the frame. They can even use their frame to put down onto the ground and do some observational drawing. If you wanted them to look at something a bit more closely, they could put it over an area in the forest and they could start drawing what's in their frame. They could even use their frame to make their own pictures, so they can have an area in the forest and then they collect things to maybe make a smiley face, or maybe they'll make a butterfly in their frame, or they'll make a little leaf insect or something like that. But again, there's so many opportunities for their learning, but they've got their own little area and their own little frame that they can decorate and create on, and you can get some great photos and some videos of their learning. All those language opportunities where you can ask them about what they've collected. You know, have they found something that's green? Have they found something that's red? Or can they find something those colours because they haven't found them yet already? So we're always looking for opportunities to get children writing and mark making. The outdoors is such an amazing space for this, whether it be a cup of water with a little paintbrush and mark making on the ground, whether it be chalks and doing those big movements on the ground and making shapes and starting to form those letters. Children love writing their name, don't they, where it's really big on the ground and leaving it there for somebody to see. So it's a great one for practicing that name writing as well. You know, when you're in the mud in the forest, you know, children love finding a really sharp stick and having a go at mark making in the mud. And even just actually getting some mud in a cup with a paintbrush and mark making with that. Children just love getting messy, don't they, and doing those big movements. So don't forget those opportunities for mark making outside. So what's in the box is a great one that you can take outside. You know, we do quite often with children sort of feely bags and feely boxes and guessing what's inside. You know, why not take those boxes and bags out into the forest or out to the local park and having things that you found along your way inside there, and get the children to put their hands in and have a good feel and guess what might be in the box or in the bag. And you know, those opportunities to develop their language further. You know, they might just say, oh, it feels a bit floppy. But that's all they might say. You know, you can say, oh, does it feel soft? Does it feel hard? Is it furry? Is it bumpy? Is it rough? All those words that you can be introducing to those children, and then actually getting those objects out, maybe having a magnifying glass, having chance to look at them more closely and explore them. All those opportunities for developing their language, their inquisitive skills, those characteristics of learning all the way along. You know, you'll be ticking those off as these children are exploring and asking questions. So one thing that I feel we do very well inside is we might put calming music on. We might get children to close their eyes and be calm and listen to the music. How does it make us feel? Do you ever do this outside? Do you ever go out into the forest and just get the children to lay down on their backs or sit on a little stump and just listen to the sounds that surround them? Maybe giving them a piece of paper and a pencil, and can they draw what they can hear? You know, can they hear the birds cheeping? Can they hear an aeroplane flying overhead? Can they hear the feet in the leaves rustling? You know, all the different talking points of things that they can hear, but also having that time where they're being at one with nature and listening to the sounds around them, and just having that calm time where nothing else is in their mind other than those lovely calming sounds that they can hopefully hear. So on this slide, you'll see that there's a games board. We've created 4 of these for each season of the year. The idea being that you play this game with your children in your setting, or you encourage parents to play it at home. So you roll a dice, and wherever you land, that is a place that you could visit for that day or that week. And you could think about all the things you might need to go out to go to that place, and you could make a list. You could think about the different activities you could do there, but you play the game together and have fun playing it. If maybe people are isolating still, or they're places that just aren't accessible from your setting, then you can click on the picture and it will take you to some photos of that area, so you can still talk about it with your children, play I Spy of the different things they can see in the photos, count how many ducks there are on the lake and things like that. So there's still that opportunity to play it if you're not physically able to go and visit the places. But we are now challenging you in your settings to create your own versions of these. We're going to send you a template. We would absolutely love to see what you do with it. So it might be that if you're in a setting where you've got quite a large outdoor area, you have all those different areas of learning on your games board, and the children roll a dice and they're encouraged to visit those different areas when they land on them and have time in those areas. It might be you use it to celebrate your local area around you and places that you visit on a regular basis. If you're a childminder, it might be that all the places on there are places that you visit on a weekly basis with your children, and you could roll the dice and play with your children. Oh, where can we visit today? Let's see where we land, and that's where you go for that day. But we'll leave it with you because we would love to see your ideas. We'd love to get them all saved in a sort of file on the hub, celebrate them all and all sort of share resources, and we'll probably share them on Chit Chat Pitter Pat as well to celebrate them with our families, and maybe it might be some things that we can challenge them to use and create their own versions of as well. If you watch the next couple of videos, we'll be able to show you myself and my daughter having a go at actually playing the game and visiting our first place that we land on. Okay, so here's the start. We're going to choose our counters. What colour would you like to be?
Red. I need to be blue.
Okay, red and blue. So I'll be blue then. Pop it there at the start. You be red. Pop it there at the start. And then we need a dice because we're going to throw the dice. We're going to find out where we're going to go on an adventure today, okay? So you can roll the dice first and see where you land. 1. Oh, you're on a blank one, so let's see if we can get any further. So pop yours there. Right, my turn. Oh, I got 1 as well. So we're both on the same square. Right, your turn. 6. Go on then. Where's 6 going to take you?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, do you know where we've landed? We've landed on Hymes Park. So today we're going to go to Hymes Park Lake to go and see the ducks. It says here, can you count the ducks and can you draw one? So that's our job for today. Do you think we can do that? So all of these activities that we've shared with you will hopefully be activities that you can share with your families as well. You know, they're easy activities to be picked up and taken inside or outside to extend that child's learning. You know, we're looking at those responsive interactions where we're down on the child's level, you know, showing parents those simple questions that they can just drop into a conversation to extend their child's learning further. You know, all the language opportunities of new words that they can introduce their child to as they're playing, whether it's what's in the box or whether it's one of those grids that they're doing with their child, and just taking their learning that bit further where they touch the leaf and they say a different word to describe it, and then their child will start using that word to describe the leaf as well. So many opportunities to be used within your setting, but also by families at home as well.